the station that's on your side. News 12, first at 5, continues.
The rescuer becomes the victim after witnessing a car crash.
So I believe that it's going to be a hard road, but I will overcome it.
Why his decision to help could cost him his vision.
But first, tornadoes are leaving a wake of destruction in Texas and Louisiana. Cameras capturing the twisters and the damage left behind. Check it out. Here is a map showing the track of the storm with
tonight. An update on that forecast tomorrow and a very breezy weekend on tap in just about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks for that, Riley. An Augusta man witnessed a horrible car accident while driving home one night. Thomas Robinson stopped to help, but that decision could cost him his vision.
Will Rio in the studio now to bring us his story and why he says he would do it all over again anyway.
Yeah, just a crazy story here. Thomas Robinson was on his way home when he witnessed this horrible car accident right here on Gordon Highway. He and another witness stopped to help the mother and her two children get out of the car, but that's when things took an unexpected turn. According to this incident report, 33-year-old Rashida Guest took out a box blade and started to swing it at Robinson and the other witness. They were both struck in the face, and Robinson was forced to go into emergency surgery. When deputies arrived on scene, they say her children were malnourished and their diapers were full. Guest stated that she snorted cocaine earlier that day. Now Robinson says he can still barely see out of his eye, but he'd do it all over again.
I keep getting a lot of, oh, you're a hero, you're a hero, you're a hero. But I don't like that because I think that it's just the right thing to do at the end of the day. I was raised up to help other people. That's just how I've always been.
And coming up on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we're breaking down what Guest is being charged with in this case here.
All right, thanks for that, Will. Former U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright has died today at the age of 84. Albright was the first woman to serve as the nation's top diplomat. Former President Bill Clinton named her ambassador of the UN before nominating her as Secretary of State in 1997. Albright served for 4 years, actively promoting the expansion of NATO. In 2012, then President Barack Obama awarded Albright the Medal of Freedom.
The historic Bon Air Hotel, it hasn't been a hotel in a long time. These days, it's become low-income housing. About a year ago, the new owners, Wrdw Housing, a company out of Austin, Texas, purchased the old hotel and the Richmond Summit apartment building as well. That one's downtown. So in recent months, city leaders have become concerned. They've been concerned about living conditions here and safety concerns at both properties. After several Bon Air, Commissioner Catherine Smith McKnight requested a fire inspection at the building. The inspection found 19 violations, including broken fire alarms, missing extinguishers, missing or damaged ceiling tiles. Commissioner McKnight says the report does not do the conditions inside justice.
Oh goodness, I walked in and needed a mask. What concerned me is the stairwell had dried up urine in it, reeked. I went up to, I believe it was like the 4th floor. The carpet looked damp.
Commissioner McKnight is now calling for code enforcement to come in and evaluate the property, to do that evaluation soon. She says the problem goes beyond the Bon Air Hotel. Several other low-income housing options have very similar complaints, and we're going to take a closer look at that tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Tomorrow night, Alpha kids are all cooped up from winter. It's the perfect time to bring them out of the house, right? A program to get them excited about reading. Yeah, that's ahead on First at 5. Riley?
Well, we are still keeping the opportunity. Maybe Sunday morning. Going to stay with some cool mornings, even into early next week as well.
Riley, thanks a lot. Getting outside, enjoying the flowers, making friends, and reading. You and the kids can take it all in at Aiken's Storytime in the Gardens program.
Our Will Volk takes us there and shows us why it is such an important resource.
Mr. Toad shows off his jumps.
It's story time.
This is where they grow up. This is where they make friends. This is where they learn to read. And it's really special.
Spring is here. And in Aiken, that means story time is too.
Hungry Crow spots a treat.
I love to engage with them. I like to interact. I don't typically just read the words and then turn the page. I ask them, we make sounds, we have fun. So I love that part.
Who eats peas?
Once a week, this is where families meet. Here in the city's Ride Patch, you can bring your kids, sit on the lawn, and listen to stories.
Water the garden, and you too.
It's a lot of fun, and I get also her favorite part is the running around, as you can see all the kids are doing right now.
That's what Patrice Johnson's granddaughter loves. After the stories have been read, there's a chance to play with friends.
It is a great time. It's a great way to make friends and build your library.
And for these families in Aiken, it's a great way to spend a spring day.
Do you like stories?
Yeah.
In Aiken, Will Volk, on your side.
Story time in the garden meets on Tuesday at 4 o'clock in the city's Ride Patch.
It is free, and if you go, you'll get a free book, too.
Let's move this rain out and get back to having good times
Yeah, there we
outside.
go.
The White House says a Russian cyber attack could happen at any minute. Coming up, why regular people could be the targets here. To regularly check that credit score of yours to make sure there's nothing unusual there. That's another giveaway that something's happening.
Just be careful.
Okay, with gas prices so high, lawmakers are making an effort to help us out. U.S. representatives introducing several plans for stimulus payments, kind of like the ones we got during the pandemic. One plan would send out energy rebates of $100 a month per person. That would be for each month. The national gasoline average is more than $4 a gallon. Two other plans suggest having big oil companies pay for people to get tax credits.
The FBI says people in Georgia lost nearly $144 million to cybercrime last year. And in South Carolina, that number is more than $42 million. It is all part of their annual Internet Crime Report, which they released just yesterday. The FBI says the top 3 schemes are business emails, romance scams, and tech support scams.
St. Patrick's Day, always a big deal in Savannah. This year was no different. In fact, police say this year marks an improvement. They only arrested 17 people over the 4-day celebration, down from 33 arrests in 2019, 54 arrests in 2017. These are not citywide numbers, just for the to-go cup alcohol zone, which they expanded this year.
Overall, numbers were down. That's a good thing. The crowd seemed to be having a good time without being overly intoxicated, which means that the bars were able to keep people at a moderate level of drinking without it getting to the excesses, which was a good thing as well.
And the parade, it ended earlier this year, which led to fewer headaches for parade goers and for police in Savannah.
Also some good news to bring you, a good news update after the Unite in the Fight Against Cancer Walk over the weekend.
AU raised more than $53,000 to support the Georgia Cancer Center, and donations are still coming in. The 1.5-mile walk celebrates and honors everyone who's been impacted by the disease.
If you missed the walk, no worries. You can still donate. If you head to our website, you can find the link to do just that.
Well, we are expecting a front to move. Captioning for News 12 is brought to you by Kenneth Nugent. From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
New details in the death of a 7-month-old girl attacked by a dog in Columbia County. What a new report reveals about who owns the dog and the property where it happened.
The first up this evening, we're still tracking that chance for strong storms across the river region.
We went ahead start things off with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale. He's been tracking this system for us. So, Riley, what can you tell us?
Well, we have been all after the rest of the week's forecast in just about 10 minutes.
New details just in tonight in the death of a 7-month-old girl attacked by a dog in Columbia County. This is a GoFundMe page for the family of 7-month-old Serenity Garnett to help pay her funeral expenses.
According to deputies, Serenity and her great-grandmother were attacked yesterday afternoon inside a home on Columbia Drive in Martinez. We're told the great-grandmother is still in the hospital right now. Serenity, sadly, did not survive her injuries.
And just in the last 2 hours, News 12 got a copy of the incident report in this case, and we're learning some information. News 12 Celeste Springer's been combing through the details for us. So, Celeste, you say the biggest thing we're learning is the dog did not belong to the great-grandmother.
That's right, Laura. According to the Columbia County Sheriff's Office, they believe the great-grandmother was renting the property, but the dog belonged to the property owners. The report also describes that the first responders found the great-grandmother and baby Serenity with multiple cuts and bites. They began CPR on Serenity as they took them both to the hospital. And as for the dog, we wanted to see what laws are in place, ones that any person who's around dogs should know. Attorney Vic Hawk says he sees dog attack cases more than you might think.
We probably get calls every month to a month and a half on a dog case that has resulted in a serious injury.
Any dog that bites someone in Columbia County gets sent to the shelter where it stays for 10 days. The sheriff's office tells us that's where the dog in this case is now. County ordinances allow for animal control to make the call on if the dog will later be euthanized because it's a danger to other people.
These can be very serious, very tragic consequences as a result of owning a dog.
For any dogs that are allowed back to their owners, there's still oversight. In Georgia, any dog reported to have bitten someone must register with the state. Owners must renew that registry every single year, and they're on the hook if an attack happens again.
As a result, if the dog bites someone else, then the owner is subject to a high and aggravated misdemeanor charge.
And not only that, there's money behind this too. Owners of what the state calls dangerous or vicious dogs are required to have liability insurance of at least $50,000.
And this family, of course, going through a tremendous amount of loss tonight. They tell us they'll be holding a vigil tomorrow evening for Serenity. Our thoughts and prayers are with that family. Just horrific circumstances. Celeste, thanks.
Happening tomorrow, it's our first. So what would you do if you saw an accident like this happen right in front of you?
An Augusta man tells us he was going down Gordon Highway one night earlier this month when he saw this car flipped over. So he stopped to check it out. But what he didn't know is he'd become a victim by trying to help.
Here's News 12's Wrdw with the story and why he says he would do it all over again.
At his dance studio outside of Atlanta, Thomas Robinson was a teacher and a community advocate for children in his class. Back in August, a house fire forced him to move back to Augusta.
I became homeless, and I had lost everything at that point.
He was just starting to get back on his feet. On his way home one night, he witnessed this accident.
I pulled over to try to help because one of the cars was turned over.
In the car was a mother and her 2 babies. Robinson and another witness were trying to get them out of the car.
She was about to have me the second baby, and she just started stabbing.
An incident report details the mother, 33-year-old Rashida Guest, used a box blade to attack Robinson.
I didn't know exactly at that moment what happened. I just kind of covered my face and moved out of her way.
Guest swung the box blade at Robinson and the other witness, striking both of them in the face. Now Robinson can barely see.
She slashed the upper eyelid of my left eye, and it kind of hit the retina. I had to have an immediate surgery.
According to the report, the children were malnourished and had full diapers. The mother told deputies she attacked Robinson because she thought he was a demon. She later confessed to using cocaine earlier that day.
I knew I was trying to do something that was right. I just didn't expect for that to happen. I didn't want any of the babies to get hurt.
Robinson said he'd stop to help again if it meant losing his vision.
I keep getting a lot of, oh, you're a hero, you're a hero, you're a hero. But I don't like that because I think that is just the right thing to do at the end of the day. I was raised up to help other people. That's just how I've always been.
In Augusta, Will Rio on your side.
And we wish him the best recovery. As for the mother, we just checked. She's still in custody tonight in Richmond County, facing 13 charges, including DUI, aggravated assault, and obstruction of a law enforcement officer.
Still ahead, Augusta University's men's basketball team in the Division II Final Four. We're joining in on the Jag celebrations coming up.
And we are continuing our first alert, at least through...
We've had severe weather across the south. You're looking at video out of New Orleans today after a couple of tornadoes tore through the region last night. A 25-year-old man died in that storm, several others injured. And you can see homes and businesses, cars destroyed. Thousands are now without power there, and the governor of Louisiana has declared a state of emergency across 4 parishes in the state, so widespread damage.
We want to bring in First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale now. He's tracking
tents or anything like that, so stay safe even though it will be sunny both Saturday and Sunday.
Jag Squatch is Jaguar's biggest fan.
Well, you heard him. He's the Jaguars' biggest fan, and he has plenty to celebrate tonight. The Augusta University men's basketball team just secured their spot in the Final Four of the Division II March Madness tournament.
Really amazing. They shut down Chico State in overtime last night up in Indiana. 81-69, the final score there. News 12 Sloan Cone live in the studio in Sloan. This is the Jags' first Final Four appearance in more than a decade.
Oh yeah, it's the last time the Jags made it this far. I was in the 4th grade, so needless to say, the energy is high on campus right now. I talked with students and, of course, superfan Jag Squatch while they root on the boys from home.
Jag Squatch was a little nervous, but had 100% confidence Miguel and the Jaguars will come through in overtime.
And they did, 81-69. Our Jag fans are feeling fine. From more than 500 miles away, the energy on campus is high today.
So excited. I cannot believe we're doing this. We're going to go all the way.
Confident the team will bring home their first national title. Their team manager says if there's a team who can do it, it's this one.
There is no, one-man show with the game. They all work together. They play together. It's never focused on one player or, one person. They want to play as a team.
Ready to share their success.
First year here, and then they just do something like that. It's very exciting for everybody. It's I ain't never been a part of that. I came from small town. We ain't never won that. Just to be a part of something new just made me, excite me.
And even more exciting to Jag Squatch and the Shake and Bake Pups.
Jag Squatch is Jaguars' biggest fan. They play beastie like he does, and the Shake and Bake Pups.
The superfan says he knows they'll bring out their beast and let out a big roar for us here at home.
So proud of Coach Mitris and his Augusta Jaguars. Go Jags!
You can't not laugh at that Jag Squash. But the Jaguars will face second-seeded Indiana in the semifinals tomorrow night at 6:30. The game will be broadcasted on the NCAA website, and there will be a watch party at Lee Auditorium on the Health Science campus for students. We'll have the details to that on our WRDW app. Just search Watch Party. Plus, you just posted on Facebook, all Jag swag is 20% off through tomorrow and tonight. You can shop online at jagstore.net or at the campus store.
We love it. Those dogs walked right on cue.
Oh, yeah.
Or
They're very well
one or the
trained.
other.
I just hope the Jaguars have that same energy.
That is great. All right, go Jags. Coming up here, she is on track to become the first black woman to serve on our nation's highest court. We're going to hear from local women in law about what that milestone means to them.
Plus new violations, but the same problem. We continue to dig into code violations across Augusta housing next.
The line 9.
Azalea Park, the Enclave, Fox Den, Richmond Summit, the list goes on. For months, we've been tracking living conditions in low-income housing across Augusta. And now the heat is shifting to the Bonnier Apartments off of Walton Way. The property may look beautiful from the outside, historic property, but a new report found several code violations on the inside. News 12's Kennedy Harris is there with a closer look at what inspectors found.
This recent fire inspection found 19 violations here at the Bonnier Apartments. There's a history of code violations as well. But it's not just these apartments. Several low-income housing options across Augusta have a history of issues. The question is, how will they be resolved?
It sits prominent on top of a hill in Somerville.
My sister and I used to think it was the White House when we were little.
It's home to hundreds of low-income renters, some who aren't happy.
A lot of them are saying that they have water drifting through, the ceilings, the doors. People were coming in and out.
Commissioner McKnight joined along for a walkthrough with the fire chief. An inspection later found 19 violations, including broken fire alarms, missing extinguishers, loose wiring, and fire hazards.
Oh, goodness. I walked in and needed a mask. The stairwell, dried up urine in it. The carpet looked damp, wet.
Concerns that sound all too familiar.
These investors, they buy these places, and then, they let it go by the wayside, and they don't do anything. But the people that live here and live inside of them, they're the ones being affected.
Our I-team found Richmond County ranked 3rd in the country for out-of-state buyers. Azalea Park, Bonnier, Richmond Summit, Fox Den, all low-income apartments owned by out-of-state investors, having similar code enforcement complaints for years.
It's not just one or two, probably a dozen of them out there, maybe more.
The city doesn't cite out-of-state investors for code violations. Instead, they cite property managers that really can't fix the problems. Without accountability, the problems persist.
We need to talk about it and figure out what the city can do.
Kennedy Harris, on your side.
McKnight says she would like commissioners to hold work sessions to talk about how to address these issues at several public housing locations we've been investigating. Bon Air owners have 30 days to repair all of the fire violations, then code enforcement will reinspect soon. We did reach out to Wrdw Housing, the owners of Bon Air and Richmond Summit, and we asked about the progress of their short-term and long-term goals presented at commission back in January. They told us they have installed alarms at all back and side doors. They are adding security cameras in the next 90 days. They anticipate beginning large-scale renovations within the year. And maintenance teams are on site, they say, correcting the fire violations. But we have their full statement on our website.
U.S. Supreme Court nominee